The NBA is officially back. Last night we had the Lakers and the Clippers put on an absolute show. We had the Pelicans lose a tough one to the Jazz, and we're just getting started. Now tonight we got a doubleheader on ESPN, and we've already had a couple of games to kick off the NBA action for this weekend. But listen, since the season is back, each video what I'm going to be doing is doing a recap of the marquee matchups for the games that's being played, and I'm going to also do a preview for the marquee matchups for the games that's coming up. Man, as a Ballaholic, you had to love the games last night. And now that the season's back on, each episode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick breakdown of the action that happened in the biggest games in between each of my videos. Then I'll pick my star performer for each game, break down the strategies, and critique each team's game plan. Now, every episode, I'm also going to highlight the big games that'll be played before my next video drops. I'll cover the marquee player matchups, as well as make my prediction for each of the outcomes of those games. So on this journey, we're definitely going to go over last night's Lakers and Jazz wins. Then we're going to wrap up the video looking into tonight's matchup between the Bucks and the Celtics. Now, Giannis has been the MVP all season. He's healthy, and he showed it in the bubble as he put up 67 points in just 61 minutes of action during the scrimmages. So you know he's ready to get back on the court and for his quest for his first NBA championship, and he's going to be taking on the Boston Celtics. Now, they're led by a young superstar up to be Jason Tatum. Now, Tatum over his last 15 games of the season, he was averaging almost 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. And then you got the Houston Rockets, so they're going to be taking on the Dallas Mavericks in their first game, and this should be an absolute shootout. You put the second and third highest scoring teams in the league together, and you can expect fireworks. Both of these teams went over 120 points each in the games that they played early in the season. So listen, I'm excited, man. You couldn't have asked for a better start to the NBA season. Listen, I gotta give the NBA credit though, because this whole bubble setup, man, that joint is hot. No fans in the stands, and honestly, it didn't even matter. Man, listen, the NBA is back. Let's get it.
Are you ready?
Welcome back to Journey of a Ballaholic, the best talk show for basketball addicts. I'm your host, General Hannibal X. Now, if you're new on this channel, you're going to be getting my passionate and in-depth analysis on the hottest NBA and college basketball topics. Listen, I'm a ballaholic, absolutely addicted to basketball, and like everyone, I have my own opinion. But if you like opinions that are backed by facts, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, but also be sure to tap that bell notification so that you'll be updated whenever I drop new videos, which is every Monday and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Man, let's jump right into the headliner from last night, the game that everyone wanted to see. The two powerhouse squads in LA, the Lakers and the Clippers. Now, both teams were missing key pieces, but the game definitely didn't disappoint. Paul George's ability to come down and transition and stop on a dime to pull up a three was absolutely magnificent. He's definitely healthy, and he had his shot rolling last night. Now, the Lakers, they started out the game on fire, and they were up 12 at the end of the first quarter, but they only closed the half being up only 2 points. It was Kawhi Leonard who caught fire in the second, and then Paul George got hot in the third quarter. Now, the Clippers, they've only played 33 games all season with their big two on the court together. And after last night's loss, they're now 24-9 in those games. But it was the Lakers that came out rolling from the jump. They had 7 turnovers in the entire first half alone. But then in the third quarter, they came out and committed 6 turnovers just in that quarter, which allowed the Clippers to be able to regain the lead. But it was Kyle Kuzma who played an absolutely fantastic game all around. Defensively, you got to give him credit. He was active, and he was also helping out on the glass. His shot was on fire as he was 4 for 7 from downtown, and he had that swag that we expect to see from Kuzma. But the biggest surprise on the court last night from the Lakers standpoint was Dion Waiters. He has to be the biggest midseason pickup in the league. His ability to get his own shot and allow LeBron to be able to rest on or off the court, man, that's major. Listen, he's a big-time shot maker, and he had a solid 11 points on 5 for 10 from the field. But it was LeBron James who started the game out just a little bit rough, and it kind of had me a little frustrated when I was watching it, as he was just 2 for 11 from the field. But he closed the game in LeBron-like fashion. LeBron, he missed that go-ahead shot, but he had that awareness and that nose for the ball to be able to go and rebound it and be able to sink that game in the basket. But what was most impressive was that the next play, the very next play, where he put the defensive clamps on to secure the win. First, he locked down Kawhi Leonard, forcing him to give the ball up, and then even switched out onto Paul George, making him take a tough shot that wound up clanking at the end of the buzzer. Now, last night, LeBron, he went out and passed Kobe Bryant in all-time wins, which is a major accomplishment. And the Lakers are now 2-0 against the Clippers in the 2020 calendar year. Now, that win also gave the Lakers their 50th win on the season, which tied the Boston Celtics franchise all-time record of having 33 times of reaching the 50-win season. But the star of the night, the guy that stood out over top of everybody, was none other than the big man, the unicorn, Anthony Davis. Listen, Anthony Davis, when he's locked in, when he goes off against the Clippers, they have absolutely no answer for him. The Lakers are 2-0 when he scores 30 or more against them this season. So I have to give Anthony Davis my star performer, as he went out there last night and put up 34 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 for 5 from the 3, and had a big time 16 for 17 from the field. And as a big man, that's major, man. Now, the game that got the NBA season kicked off was the Jazz and the Pelicans. And right from the start, we saw that Zion was in beast mode. Now, only Giannis has scored more points in the paint than Zion has this season. And I swear, it seems that if he's going to his left, man, you literally can't stop him. But he only played 15 minutes, which absolutely blew my mind, but he did score 13 points on just 6 for 8 from the field. Now, Yahoo Sports just broke a report by Chris Haynes saying that Zion was absolutely pissed about only playing 15 minutes a night. Listen, to me, that right there is unacceptable. This man has had 4 months off. 4 months off, you bring him back, he's young, he's healthy, he's ready to go, he's a raging bull. You gotta play this young stud. I don't know if they're trying to intentionally lose games for lottery. I don't know if they're looking for trying to just I don't know what they're doing, but that's not winning basketball. Let that young man play. If he had played, they would have won the game. Now, it was Brandon Ingram who looked aggressive from the jump, and he's a legit most improved player candidate. He came into this matchup averaging 39 points in the 3 games against Utah, but he was held to just 23 points last night from Utah's defense. But I do think that this offseason, the Pelicans, they definitely need to add a rim protector because they were allowing way too many points inside the paint. But you can also tell that from an offensive standpoint that Utah, they really missed Bogdanovic's shooting. Their offense just had way too many dry spells. But ultimately it came down to the Pelicans blowing a 16-point lead, which is their largest blown lead of the season. Now, Donovan Mitchell for Utah, he started the game off really slow, but he did close very well as he had 6 of his 20 points in just the last 3 minutes. Now, despite all the turnovers from both teams, this game was actually won at the free throw line. The Jazz hit 24 of 28 from the stripe, and Rudy Gobert sealed the deal at the charity line off of a gorgeous dip from Donovan Mitchell. So the star performer for this game was Donovan Mitchell with his 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. He led the Jazz to a much-needed win in that tight Western Conference race. Okay, let's get into the games tonight. Now, we got a big-time doubleheader. So right after this video, make sure you head over to ESPN as the Bucks and the Celtics are going to tip off at 6:30 p.m. Now, this right here could be a potential Eastern Conference preview as the season series is split 1-1. In the first meeting, the one game that the Boston Celtics won, Jason Tatum actually outscored Giannis 25-22, which I think is going to be a telling factor in this marquee matchup. Now, in that game, the Celtics had 4 guys scoring 19 plus points, and they were led by Kemba Walker's 32. Whereas the Bucks only had 2 guys score over 12 points, and their third option, Eric Bledsoe, was held to just 7 points. Now, in the second meeting between these squads, Bledsoe still struggled to score, shooting 2 for 9 from the field. Now, he also got torched, absolutely torched by Kemba Walker for 40 points. But it was Brook Lopez that actually stepped up to be the Bucks' third scorer in that particular game. Giannis, he absolutely dominated like he normally does with 32 points, 17 rebounds, and 7 assists. Now, Jason Tatum, he was playing at an MVP level before the season stopped, right? And I expect him to continue that tear that he was on. The Celtics, they actually had one of the best starting lineups in the entire NBA, but it's their front court size that actually worries me. Especially when you're talking about going up against a legitimate front line, a team like the Milwaukee Bucks that has 2 7-footers. But however, I do have to say this. Unlike the first 2 meetings, Jaylen Brown's going to be available in this game, and that's going to be big. Having him as like another legitimate wing, big size to be able to throw at Giannis, that's going to definitely help them out. Now, keep in mind, the Milwaukee Bucks, they're going to be without Eric Bledsoe and Pat Connaughton due to injury. So I'm predicting that the Boston Celtics, they're going to begin their restart with the win over the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, for the second game of tonight's doubleheader, the Rockets versus the Mavs, this game features 2 of the best duos in the NBA. Now, though these squads played twice during the season, James Harden and Luka Doncic only played against each other in 1 game. That's the marquee matchup, and the guy who's able to win that matchup will likely lead their team to victory. Now, in the first meeting, it was Luka Doncic that went for 41-10, outdoing James Harden's near triple-double. But I'm expecting Russell Westbrook to be an absolute monster in this game. Now, keep in mind, since that Capella trade, Russ is averaging 31, 8, and 6 on 52.5% from the field. Having a big man guard has truly opened up the paint for him, allowing Russ to dominate in the inside. Now, the key for the Mavs is going to be their ability to defend the paint while also being able to cover the Rockets' 5-out offense. That's where Porzingis comes in. Porzingis is averaging 29 points and 12.5 rebounds in the 2 meetings against the Houston Rockets. And he's going to have to force the Rockets to either double him down low or bring Tyson Chandler in off the bench. Now, the X factor to watch for this game, I think is going to be Seth Curry for the Mavs because he's their best shooter, and to be honest with you, he's been absolutely on fire during these scrimmages. If he can continue to stroking it from deep and make the Rockets' job guarding Luka and Porzingis that much harder, that's going to really help the Dallas Mavericks to win in this game. For the Rockets, I think their X factor is going to be PJ Tucker. How he defends Porzingis, giving him almost a foot in height, that's going to be key. But he also needs to be able to knock down those corner threes to be able to bring that big man out of the paint. Now, the Rockets, keep in mind, they're going to be without Eric Gordon, who's likely going to miss 1 to 2 weeks with an ankle injury. However, I'm predicting that James Harden continues his hot start in the bubble and lights the Mavs up for 40 points in a win for the Rockets. Man, last night gave us Ballaholics exactly what we've been missing. Listen, between the games that's on right now and the games that's coming on tonight, the NBA is officially back. So let me know, who do you think is going to win the marquee matchups tonight? You got the Bucks versus the Celtics and the Rockets versus the Mavs. Let me know in the comment section below. Listen, if you missed my 6-part series where I broke down my top 5 NBA title contenders and then I revealed who I think is going to win the 2020 NBA championship, go ahead and click the box right here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you click the logo up top. Listen, I appreciate you for taking a look at this video. If you're out in the streets, make sure that you stay safe. But remember, we still want justice for the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. Peace.